What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi and Eric Sheetshaber. We're going to be talking about this Sunday NFL main slate, and it's an interesting slate. I'll just say my top takes, and then we'll go to Sheets for his overview, and then we'll go talk about each game. But I really think it's hard to have an ugly slate when you're playing 10 games of anything. But this feels like an ugly slate. I mean, you've got Mason Rudolph chalk, Justin Herbert chalk, the team that likes to only run the ball. We're going to probably end up with a potentially chalky Mac Jones. That's a possibility.
Is that happening?
I mean, he's 4,400, and his projection is the highest point per dollar value. So I mean, it just looks like a weird slate. So what do you think about this slate? And then we'll get into each game.
Well, I literally just ran my stuff now. I was not expecting to sit. My first question to you was going to be, is Christian McCaffrey? What do you think about Christian McCaffrey coming back?
I think he's supposed to come back. I think he's well, you know what? Actually, I've got it now. We've got him as out. I keep seeing conflicting things, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't know what's going on here.
They announced before that he was going to, and then whatever the latest things are, he has no projection. But I haven't seen an official word yet, so I guess we're just gonna have to kind of wait on it because I don't know what to do in the meantime.
I mean, they're saying that he's. I mean, that they expect him to play. That was last night. So maybe let me just see what I have for him. Like most recent thing. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I'm still projecting him too.
Yeah.
So I'm projecting. I mean, it's not much, but I'm still projecting with 19 fantasy points. I mean,
that seems like almost, that seems about like a little bit of almost a hedgy thing, but it's also weird to see how Saberson doesn't have a projection for him right now. So we'll see. I think we'll get that news at some point. They've got him as out specifically. So unless there might've been news that just broke that we don't even know about, that I don't see anywhere, but maybe I guess we'll just have to play it accordingly because I don't have anything that's confirming it or not. Anyway,
I also am seeing that Michael Pittman Jr. is out.
Yeah, that one.
Is that new? Yeah, that's just half an hour ago. Okay, so that's stuff we're gonna have to adjust to. I mean, because I saw that Josh Downs was definitely a very, very healthy secondary target. You know what I mean? Or if not primary target. In the last game.
I think you're their primary target now.
Yeah, and then I was watching, because I was sweating the showdown. I was watching them to get Adonai Mitchell involved, but he barely played. It was like brutal to watch.
Yeah.
But Pierce, he's going to get in there. They gave some run to the Ashton Doolin. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to. I mean, what are these prices on some of these guys?
It's not like you're getting like an incredible deal.
No, I mean Downs is 6,200. It's not like.
Yeah, and by the way, Downs is also going to be extremely popular.
Even at 6,200.
Oh yeah, he was going to be popular anyway. He's going to be even more popular now, and especially because Joe Flacco is the quarterback. And I think Flacco is going to be popular as well. By the way, so it's an interesting slate. Should we pull up your screen and go game by game?
I guess so. Let me just see. Let me just find your screen here. Okay. Yeah, it's funny when I am sorting by point per dollar. It looks like you're right. I see that I'm getting Mac Jones as the top point per dollar play. Oh, so did they bench? What's his name? Or he's injured?
No, he's questionable. There's no way they're benching him. But I don't know what state he's in and why would they bother playing? I mean, their season's basically over as it is. So I think that's maybe where the thinking is coming from. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up playing. So I really, it's just weird. We're doing this later than usual, and we have just more question marks than ever, I feel like. Anyway, we can go game by game here. What you got up first? The New England Chicago?
Yeah, I got the Bears defense game up first. So Bears defense, I have them projected at like 27% ownership.
Yeah.
And when I ran like initial sims, I was getting like 50% of them or something, which obviously ain't going to happen. Just don't play that much of a defense. That's my first comment on this game. I'm trying to look down to see if anybody else looks looks like they'd be showing up, and I mean, it doesn't look that way. But should we be playing anything from Chicago? Should we play any of these running backs or Caleb Williams or anything? Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I have Caleb Williams as, I don't know, 7th best point per dollar play, maybe at 6% ownership. Okay. I don't know. It obviously doesn't seem like this is the game you want to really be targeting.
No, it doesn't, but it's weird. It's actually getting some more ownership than I thought. One, I really like this Drake May. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's also a good fantasy player because he can really run. I think either quarterback is fine. I think the most interest, though, I have in this game is DeAndre Swift and Hunter Henry. Both of those seem like very natural plays. Hunter Henry is the best point per dollar play as according to SaberSim right now. And I'm
at tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. My numbers, I have him like tied for 3rd, 4th, 5th. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, look, you're going to see, there's a lot of guys bunched up, but I do think that Henry is a good play, and I do think that DeAndre Swift is a good play. I also think that Keenan Allen has started to look, they've looked for him a little bit more. If you wanted to stack up Caleb, I'm certainly not going to fault you for it, but mostly I don't feel like this is the game we're supposed to be going, but I feel that way about almost every game, so I'm sort of open to everything. This game is one of the few that does feel like maybe you could do something here. So what do you think about the Buffalo Indy game?
I don't know. I just talked about, Michael Pittman being out. Supposed to put up points in this game? I don't know. My instinct is to not play it, but I mean, look, running back wise, I don't really see any of the running backs showing up as particularly good. Yeah, I have Josh Downs right now as one of the better, if not the best, right, point per dollar play on the slate. So he's going to, as you mentioned, he's probably going to be pretty popular. I don't know, man. I know you're not as you're always a little lower than the field on Buffalo as a team in general.
But I'm higher on Josh Allen than I am anybody.
Right. You're always higher on Josh Allen than you are on anybody.
Right.
And I don't know. I have this. I'm getting the sense this game is sort of a lemon. I don't know. Like, what do you like here?
I love this game.
Okay.
Based on the slates, the slate. Look, you get Josh Allen indoors, an extra week with getting Cooper, assuming that Cooper does play. But I actually think that I still might even prefer. Well, wait a minute. What's happening here? Because now what is going on this morning? Everybody's out.
Who?
No. Oh, I didn't realize that I had Keon Coleman as in when I prepared for this, but he's out. So,
it's like the NBA. I mean, this is
yeah. So I don't know who to play Josh Allen with, but I like Jonathan Taylor as a run back. I think he's very reasonable price. Buffalo is not as good against the run as maybe you'd think. I do think the Adonai Mitchell is going to show up, and I think that Josh Downs is probably a cash game play. It's the question is, who do you play Josh Allen with? Maybe you play him with Kincaid a little bit, low ownership there. Maybe you play him with Shakir. Maybe you play him with Cooper. I think I would lean Cooper if Cooper's available. But I really do like, I like Joe Flacco. I think this is my favorite spend up at quarterback is Josh Allen, and my favorite spend down is probably Flacco. There's some other guys we can consider, but I don't know if, you know what, Flacco's not my favorite spend down, but he's one I'm considering. So yeah, this is one of the games I have targeted this week on a shitty week.
So I mean, just to recount, I mean, I had Adonai Mitchell in my Wildcat thing, and he ended up forgetting he only had one target. He played 5 freaking snaps. Like he played 5 snaps in a game where they were trailing.
Yeah.
And the one target he had an amazing catch. They must just hate him. I don't know. I don't get it.
No, they just have. I mean, they have like Alec Pierce has been good for them this year. They've got a little bit of depth. They had Pittman. Now they have
like Doolin had more action.
Yeah, and Dolan's got a little bit more experience with them. I don't know, man. It does feel a little fishy that he's projecting quite as well as he is, but certainly don't have to do it. But if you're looking for value, I don't mind it.
Okay.
Minnesota, Jacksonville.
So all right. So listen, if you want to play Mac Jones against Brian Flores, I mean, you can do it. I'm just not doing that.
Neither am I.
I don't know what to tell you. I I think my opinion is that, first of all, Trevor Lawrence is actually pretty good, and I think him to Mac Jones is a really, really big downgrade to the whole Jacksonville offensive experience. And I don't think I want to play anything from Jacksonville. The Minnesota side, though, you're going to get, I guess Aaron Jones, the best running back on the slate. Possibly. I mean, relative to his price. I mean, we'll talk about Kamara, Bijan, maybe Breece Hall. I guess these are the candidates, I suppose. And we'll get to others. But Jones is going to be a good play. Jefferson is going to be a good play every day. And Jacksonville definitely can give up some points. So the only issue I would have with Jefferson again is, can Jacksonville put up enough to keep this thing close enough? Mm-hmm. But here's the other thing, is that Minnesota actually got off to a really, really lackluster start in their game against Indianapolis this past week. Mm-hmm. I think they were down 7-0 at the half, or 7-7 or something. Mm-hmm. And I think they kind of correct that a little bit. I think they come out I think they come out firing this week. So I do like Jefferson. Mm-hmm. Addison's fine too. I mean, this whole Minnesota offense I like.
Yeah, I feel like it's all the Minnesota offense for me. And if you can get the defense, I would love to get that as well against Mac Jones. I am surprised by the projection of Evan Ingram. I understand, like, I am always the one, but he's an expensive tight end, and he's looking like he might be one of the most popular, maybe the most popular tight end. And I don't really want to do that with Mac Jones, although I usually like the backup quarterbacks with tight ends, but usually those are 3K tight ends, not 5,300. But Ingram is the guy you run it back with if you wanted to play a stack of Minnesota. But I think this Minnesota hammer stack is fine. I don't really want to get into a bunch of game stacking, but Aaron Jones is my favorite play on their side. I also do like Jefferson. Nothing revolutionary for me here. I think Minnesota's going to, I totally agree. I think Minnesota comes out and sort of beats them down. If I'll change my mind if Lawrence plays. I know he hasn't been nearly what everybody thought he'd be, but he's still much, much better than some people think he is. That's my take. All right. Atlanta and New Orleans.
Yep. Starting with the New Orleans side, I think Alvin Kamara, I have him as, what do I got him rated? Second, something like that. As far as pure points per dollar goes, accounting for raw points, I might have him first. So he's obviously a really, really good play. Now, the Saints backfield is not as barren as it was last week, because they at least have, I think, Jamal Williams is at least questionable and sort of practicing this week. So it's not like there's nobody. And then the other thing I have from this game, now, first of all, Olave is out. So I imagine that you're going to want to try to play some, wide receiver roulette with some of these guys. I don't know exactly how to do it, though. Cedric Wilson, non-participant, we're going to have to see what happens, because he's got to throw it to somebody. Tipton, he was getting some showdown love a few weeks ago. These guys are all really cheap. I'll just say that. And then I actually have Taysom Hill as the best point per dollar tight end on the slate, not the other guy. So he's my top tight end right now.
I love that for what it's worth. I don't think it's going to be the common take, and I
I
like it a lot.
So I have Kamara and Taysom Hill as being just very, very strong plays here for New Orleans. Now on the Atlanta side, it's a little more direct. Bijan Robinson looks very, very strong. One of the top plays. Let me see if the same receivers show up again. Actually, Pitts I have way down on the list this week. As far as the wide receivers go, boy, I don't have Drake London like that great this week. This is kind of strange to me, but I don't. So these Atlanta receivers are just not coming in particularly well projected for me. So I do like Bijan Robinson, I do like Kamara, and I'd like Taysom Hill.
I don't care who's playing for Atlanta. I can just promise you I'm going to play the passing game. This team has already been getting lit up lately, New Orleans, and they just traded one of the best cornerbacks in football. I don't understand.
Who did they trade? Lattimore, yeah.
Wow. To the Commanders, and the Commanders are becoming more and more
great. Like they needed that.
No, dude.
I guess they did need that.
They're having a 0 to hero year. This could be a Commander season. Jaden Daniels is really good. Anyway, I like Cousins is expensive, and it's been for good reason. He's been absolutely awesome. I'm interested in this game. I always like the dome games in general. There's these teams play either a shootout or it's like 13-10 every time. It's like it's one or the other. It's just gonna be one. It's not gonna be 21 to I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be 21-20 or something like that. But I'm gonna go for the over in general, and I like Bijan. I like the passing. I like all of Atlanta's offense. Whoever ends up playing, whether it's London plays, whether if not London, then we have McLeod and Mooney. I think Mooney's an awesome play, and I don't know why he's not quite getting the love that he deserves. I think all this whole Atlanta offense is I like, and I like the Taysom Hill idea as a run back. I don't feel good about any of these receivers. I'm going to have to do a little bit of digging and see who I feel the most comfortable with if I had to pick any from New Orleans. But I don't really feel good about any of them. I just feel like it's Kamara or Hill, and you can run on Atlanta too. So and they are at home, so I'm open to this as another game stack. I like this one quite a bit actually. Again, slate dependent. These are not ones I would normally be playing, but we don't have a lot of great games.
So obviously this whole injury report gives me a freaking headache. The San Francisco Tampa Bay thing. I mean, like
I don't even know what
questionable. Who the hell? I mean, it's just kind of silly to even speculate. But if all the Tampa Bay guys are out, play the guys that are in. That's the best I could best I could do as far as that goes. And then as I kind of alluded to earlier, if McCaffrey comes back, I guess it's reasonable to presume that he doesn't get like 100% of the work, right? I mean, his first time back.
Yeah.
I guess that's a reasonable assessment. Who else from San Francisco? So it's the end of the Jordan Mason experience, at least for the time being, and unfortunately, the end of the Isaac Guerrero experience. I like that guy. He'll end up somewhere, I think.
Yeah,
maybe San Francisco. I don't know. Let's see.
Well, they like him too. By the way, they drafted him. I mean, it's not like he's.
Yeah, but they can't keep him as an RB3, right? I mean,
for them they can, because then he becomes the RB2 when Mason goes. Like it's that's that sort of thing. And also
they'd love to, but I mean, just to keep him from going somewhere else. I mean, that guy's freaking lightning.
Remember that Shanahan offense is they love those backup running backs in general until McCaffrey came. His whole career going back to Atlanta, these teams would go 3 deep at running back, and it drove all the fantasy people crazy because it was hard to project which one, but they all would go crazy. He's just the best quarterback for running backs that there is in football.
I like for the guys that I think are going to play at least. I do like George Kittle, 5,800.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that, and it just depends who plays as far as the receivers go for both of these teams.
Yeah, good luck to Tampa Bay in this one is what I can say. I whether McCaffrey plays or not, I don't see them. I think San Francisco puts a beat down on them in Tampa Bay. And I like whatever for what it's worth. This is the highest total on the slate, and currently not one player outside of K. Otten being projected above 10% ownership. If that remains the case, this will be in half my lineups. It just makes too much sense. They're too cheap on the Tampa Bay side. We just don't know who's playing, so that's probably why it's happening. But I'll take shots with these Tampa Bay guys. But Otten's my favorite. I also like Kittle. I think you could play a double tight end from the same game stack. These are two of the worst teams against tight ends in football. Otten's in the best situation, and Kittle is facing the team that's the worst in football against tight ends.
What do you think about Purdy? I
think Purdy's very reasonable. I built one hand build to start just because I said, you have a free voucher to use or whatever. So I just built a hand build for fun, and my hand build was Purdy to Kittle with Kate Otten as a run back, and then I threw in at the time Trey Palmer, but I'm open to whatever receiver actually is playing. I don't know who it's going to be, but it would be nice if Shepard's out. I'd like it even better, but there's just, like you said, it's too many question marks to know who the hell to play yet. We're going to have to wait to see, and hopefully we get it before Sunday morning at 9:30 or 8:30 or whatever.
I would like to say, by the way, that that San Francisco has not beaten anybody down the whole season, and we've been waiting for them to come out of their shell. We thought they'd beat Kansas City. We thought they'd slow. They were in business against Dallas, I guess. Then they let them back in at the end. I forget how that happened. Was that just a backdoor touchdown at the end? I forget how that happened.
No, it was actually a closer game than I think most people thought. They didn't they dominate Seattle a couple weeks ago? I think they did.
I guess so.
But you're right though that they haven't been what everybody thought. And to everybody who talks this stuff about Purdy, I actually like Purdy, but I don't think he's played well this year. That's my personal take. The guy's got 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This is not games. You look at Lamar last night, who's got like 30 touchdowns and like 2 picks all season long. And you look at Joe Burrow, who's thrown like this sort of 30 touchdowns, all whatever. He's got a million. I mean, it's not really 30, but it's a million. I think they break out of it in a big way in Tampa Bay. That's just my take. And I'm only afraid that Tampa Bay won't be able to move the ball on them. But if this game gets unowned, you should get after it because it doesn't make sense why the highest total on a really lousy slate would be unowned. There's only one other game that I'm really that into. Well, we can talk about it, I guess, when it comes up.
I don't know. Tampa Bay scored points every game this year. I don't know.
They haven't had any. They had Godwin and Evans. That's a pretty big guys to be missing.
I guess. I
mean, two of the best 15 receivers in football that are gone.
I mean, if they go for 2 and make it against Kansas City, we might have another whole different narrative this week.
Sure, I don't know. There's fluky games all over the place, and I whatever. I hear you, but I can't. I don't know. I don't see it happening personally.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna go to the Philadelphia. What did we start? Not Philadelphia, Washington, Pittsburgh, Washington, right?
Yeah. I don't have a lot in this game. Honestly, nothing.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what to do either here because it doesn't feel like the right spot. Like, I mean, look, there couldn't be a worse matchup for Jaden Daniels. It's a good spot for the Pittsburgh offense, but that's not an offense that I want to be banking on.
I don't think so.
And I don't even actually think it's as good a spot as I used to think it was because Washington's defense has been better than we thought, and we also obviously they just added Mr. What's his name? Why can't I'm losing track of the name for the New Orleans quarterback. I can't find anything to do here, so I guess we can move on. I think Najee Harris. Yeah, sure. But it doesn't feel like the right play, but I'm probably just going to be off this one. If you want to take a chance, you're never going to see Jaden Daniels at 0.5% ownership again. So you could take that shot.
You see him that way every week, don't you? I mean,
no, he's been owned.
Okay.
People have caught on. People got hip to it. Like they got onto it pretty quick. Tennessee and the Chargers.
Yeah. You telling me that Mason Rudolph is going to be a chalk here? I mean,
I don't get it.
I mean,
I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, I can't imagine. First of all, playing quarterbacks against the Chargers is usually not a great idea anyway. Playing Mason Rudolph isn't such a great idea anyway. Hey, how did what's his name do last season? Did Ridley have another good game, or did he go backwards? Yeah, he did go backwards. Okay. Okay, so J.K. Dobbins again is going to look like a good play. 7,200 seems a little expensive, but he looks reasonable. And aside from that, it just looks like a 20-10 game. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, the Chargers just take the air out of the ball. I have no idea why Herbert is getting this kind of ownership. I mean, he is 5,200. I have to say, like, if you had said a couple years ago that Justin Herbert would ever be less than like 6K, 7K, much less 6K, like it would have been blasphemous. But they just don't play that way. They play to win football games. I very much like Harbaugh as a coach, and I don't think he's a good coach for fantasy teams. That's all I can tell you. I have nothing that stands out. I expect the Chargers to win this game fairly easily. But, nothing stands out with the exception, of I do have some interest in Calvin Ridley, and I do have interest in Westbrook-Akine, which is, that's I guess, sort of the answer to why would you play Mason Rudolph? I guess that's the reason. You've got the cheap Westbrook-Akine who's been, heavily involved. He's got touchdowns the last 2 weeks, and he's 3,800. Ridley, who I think has a monster ceiling. But it's a tough matchup. So I would rather not get overly exposed outside of maybe just a little bit of Ridley. Or Westbrook-Akine. All right, next one up. Jets in Arizona. This is an interesting game.
Well, it's an interesting game because, I mean, obviously the Jets have been, very disappointing. And yet, they still get, lots of respect in the betting markets, like every single week, regardless of how many games they lose. I could definitely see this game from an outcome perspective going a lot of different ways, but from a fantasy perspective, the reality is this: Alan Lazard is going to the injured reserve, and Mike Williams is out. I mean, you got some pretty good concentrated target share with these two guys, two very talented guys. Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, and with Breece Hall as well. I think all three of those guys and the Jets' offense is going to be, very much in play. And then if you want to play in the 4 p.m. window, you want to play some, just to have the wide receiver 3 at 3K, Xavier Gibson at 3K. The Jets haven't played like a shootout game like in what since Testaverde was the quarterback. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this is the type of matchup that could develop into something like that. But then again, I mean, when's the last time anybody put up points against the Jets? So maybe it's just going to be like a low scoring dud game. I don't know, but I can't ignore the fact that those two wide receivers are out, and you have two very very talented dudes that I don't know which one of them. I mean, I think about this like with respect to like Puka and Cup, right?
Yeah.
But you'd have to think that someone from the Jets offense is going to be a good play, if not two people.
My first take, and unfortunately, it's where the ownership is going. My first take of this week is this is the perfect. It's the perfect get a big performance from the offense, get everybody play a hammer stack for the Jets, give the Jets fans hope before they crater the rest of the season. You know what I mean? It's such a Jetsy game. I mean, such a thing that they always do every year. But this game is just like the perfect setup for them to potentially. Now, Arizona in their defense, as their defense has been a little better than I think they get credit for all season long. And forget all the numbers. They played a pretty tough schedule. I mean, even going to Buffalo, and their defense was all over them for it until Allen got it going in the fourth. I really think that you play Rodgers and you play both Wilson and Adams, and you potentially play Breece Hall as well. I think you could actually get away with something like that on this slate. Now you'd have to find value elsewhere, and if you're going to run anything back, I think you take some James Conner. The Jets defense, as good as it is on paper, has not been as good as advertised, like for what it's worth. And it's Arizona in Arizona. But I think the Jets are going to win this game. I think this is going to be their offense explosion. You don't necessarily need a run back, but I like a Jets hammer stack. It's just unfortunate that it's going to be popular.
Yeah, I'm just feeling that there's a lot of ways this can go. Remember, the Jets is, I like to say they're a must win, but they've been must win the whole season. That hasn't helped. But they are must win. The coach would love to get a win or whatever. And I just think that from a fantasy perspective, the Jets' best path to victory is not going to be scoring 30 points. So I don't know. Well, we'll see. But I agree with you. And again, as I mentioned, just that target share is just so going to be that target tree is so concentrated there that it's kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah, and I think it's just and by the way, all those guys could be like as much as Jefferson or maybe not quite Jefferson and Chase, but just beneath them. But because they're they cancel each other out, they're 7K. I mean, Devontae Adams was like 9K for 5 years. Anyway, definitely that's one of the four for me of the big games to target. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this Philly and Dallas game.
Yeah, I think that I was going to say the game can go one of two ways, but well, I could say that about every game.
Yeah.
But I think in whatever game script I come up with is how the game could go. I think this game is going to put up a lot of points. I think both offenses are very, very live to put up huge scores. I mean, but again, as far as narratives go, this could be, Philly just had an amazing game, right? Until they almost didn't, right? But you can see that their offense is freaking rolling now, and Barkley's just in another world right now.
Yeah.
And Dallas is live to lose 51-0 and fire their coach on Monday. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
That's certainly in play. But they also have, listen, I know this is not worth much, but they have, 300 years of freaking pride, and you know what I mean? Like, Cowboys at home against the Eagles. I mean, if they're gonna have a game, I mean, it's just got to be this one. You know what I mean? They have to put up or bring their best game, and you could end up with CeeDee Lamb with like 40 fantasy points at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably gonna go with that. I don't even know what the prices are. I don't even know what the ownership is. It's probably going to be. Everybody's probably pretty expensive because I'm probably not getting to them when I just run my Sims here. But I don't know if I really care all that much. I think this game could really be could be 75 points in this game if things go a certain way.
The only thing is, like, how are the Cowboys going to score?
I think they can. I think you've been able to move the ball. Listen, you can be able to move the ball against the Eagles. And
yeah, but like
the Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. And they're at home. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I've never seen them score points with Cooper Rush. Maybe this is the time they do. They've been the worst home team this year in the NFL history, basically. So I'm going to go with. I think the Eagles are going to win this game, but I will take, because everybody's going to say the same. People are going to play Barkley and all this. Just want to point out that Jalen Hurts, when we have a slate without Lamar Jackson, guys like Hurts and Josh Allen just become like my eyes start popping when I see them, and I see the ownership on Jalen Hurts and no ownership this week. What if they end up with three times inside the 1 yard line, 3 times like they always do? We saw the 3 rushing touchdowns a couple weeks ago. Jalen Hurts has put up the highest scores of any quarterbacks this season outside of those. Actually even higher than Lamar. Maybe he put up 30 last week, 35 the week before. Why wouldn't we play, instead of playing the Barkley path, maybe you play the Philly passing game?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that outcome is very, very live. Really, just this is the Dallas throwaway game, not throwaway game. This is the end of the season, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've just seen this happen too often with the quarterback out and the guy that just comes in and the whole team just rallies around him. These guys are athletes. These guys have just a shitload of pride, and no one's happy there with what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think Dallas is very, very live for a big performance here. And it pains me to say, it's like you should. I was that guy growing up. That my favorite team are the Giants and whoever were playing the Cowboys. That was my
right.
That was my thing. The Danny White and all this, all the Cowboy stuff. I hated the Cowboys. I can never root for the Cowboys, but I just think that they're going to come up big here. And if that's the case, then like you said, you're going to need Dallas to come up big for the Philly offense to be live in fantasy,
Yeah. So interestingly, like about I kind of knew you'd have this take coming into the day. I knew you were going to talk into this game because I tried to talk myself into it so many times. I know what you mean about these situations in the past. The Eagles, for what it's worth, I think that Sirianni is one of the worst coaches in football, and maybe something happens, maybe some goofiness, and Dallas stays in the game. But to me, that's drawn me still more to I just think Dallas is really bad. I think they're one of the worst teams in football. I think they're a bottom 10 team in football. But yeah, we've seen bottom 10 teams beat the top teams before. I also wanted to make a big point that there are 9 running backs this year that have outscored any receiver. So if you look at the overall fantasy point scorers, there are 9 running backs, and before you get to any receiver, and it's Jamar Chase, and that was before last night. I'm not sure what it is now. But I think it's still the case, which just goes to show you that's why the running backs in the flex build has been working like crazy this year. You just have so much more scoring from running backs than you are from receivers. And maybe it's just a blip year, but so far that's been the trend. And this week, it doesn't look all that different to me, where I like a lot of these running backs. And, overall, Jones, I was looking through who I was going to try and set as my core for the site. And like Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, and different price ranges, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, they all look amazing to me this week. I like James Conner in that, again, as a run back in that game. I like Kamara. I like Bijan Robinson this week. There's just a lot of plays at running back, and I just think that I'm probably going to end up doing the running back in the flex thing again, even though everybody else is going to also. Otherwise, I'll go double tight end. That's the only other thing I'm considering.
Just running the Sims, doing whatever. My highest owned guys. Well, my highest owned player is 67% Chicago Bears. Okay. But aside from that, it's actually what I'm getting. Next highest owned is going to be the Aaron Jones. It looks like I'm getting 60% of him. Mm-hmm. And then, as you mentioned, 54% Aaron Rodgers, 53% Garrett Wilson, 36% Devontae Adams, like you said.
Yeah, they're hammering it.
And then, wait a minute. Did we forget something? We totally forgot something. This is so sick.
What did we forget?
We're so bad. We forgot Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins. We didn't even look at that game.
Oh my God, we just skipped the game. Yeah, you're right. We jumped right past it. My bad.
And I'm looking, and I have 36% of DeAndre Hopkins. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. We probably should talk about that pretty quickly.
I think I can't believe I didn't. We just went past it. But I do like. I actually don't have I don't want to go crazy on that kind of game. At some point, we will see the just absolutely massive Mahomes game, but I don't really care.
Denver can move the ball a little bit, Bobby.
They can move the ball against teams that suck.
I guess.
How did that work for them? They moved the ball for one quarter against Baltimore, and in Baltimore, as we've seen, their defense. Look, Lamar's the best player in the NFL right now, and that defense, though, man, I mean, talk about what they gave up last night. I mean, Jamar Chase had one of the all-time great receiving games in history.
Yeah.
I'll take Sutton. I'll believe in Sutton. I still like my Vele as a long shot play. I don't know why they keep playing Little Jordan Humphrey. All I see is this guy dropping passes and miss running routes and stuff. But to me, this is a Kareem Hunt or Hopkins with Sutton are the only guys I have any interest in. And I think Hopkins is a good enough play to almost consider him a core play. But I'm a little bit worried that just remember Lamar is not like a one other than Tyreek Hill has never been like a target one receiver. And Rice is a great receiver. But you have those games where he just spreads it out to all these guys, and you don't really know which one it's going to be.
You know, I'll tell you something else. Bo Nix, I mean, he was very close to making me a lot of money last week. I had these Denver guys as part of that Baltimore stack, and I had like the Bo Nix too. They got down to the one at the end of the game in garbage time like twice and stalled.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
But I do like I do like Hopkins. Kelsey 6K seems like a lot, but he's doing well. Maybe they're just better games in general.
Can we petition the sports world to stop saying Travis Kelce is done or dust after 5 weeks? It's happened now 5 years in a row, and all he does is smash as it gets colder and colder. But I think 6K is reasonable. I just like too many other tight ends. I like Kittle and Otten a little bit better than Kelce, but I'm certainly fine with Kelce too.
Yeah, I like the I think the Otten play is really, really good. I like Kittle, and I really like the I mean, these are totally different plays, obviously, but Taysom Hill, I like him for cheap.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else, by the way, from that Jet game, the Tyler Conklin 3,400 makes those hammer stacks work as well.
Yeah, the only issue I have with that is that you've got it works for the hammer stack for sure. I just don't think you want to do it. I don't think on its own it's a great play. That's just my take.
Yeah. I just mean if you're going to want to play three receivers even or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this is a week where tight ends score quite a bit. That's and I think it's going to be the Henry on the low end I like, but I really like Otten. I really like Kittle. I like Kelce. That's more the range I'm looking for.
And I'm gonna test my theory this week about something. I want to see if DeAndre Swift comes in, say, what do I have DeAndre Swift projected at as far as
23%, 24%?
23. I wonder if he comes in 5% like more owned because like optimizers will start with Bears and back into Swift as opposed to vice versa.
That's an interesting point.
And I think about that a lot when I come up with these like high-owned defenses. And I also have the high-owned running backs. I'm like, do I have the defense because I have the running back, or do I have the running back because I have the defense? You know?
Right.
If I have the running back because I have the defense, then I'm doing something wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want to start with the defense and say, okay, what correlates with the defense? You know what I mean? I'd rather start with the running back and then say, okay, because of that, I'll play the defense.
To play devil's advocate just on that one point, though, remember last week, it didn't quite work out as well for Connor. It looked like it was going to. He had a bunch at halftime, and then he got like 2 in the second half. But the Arizona defense was the nuts, and for a while it looked like Connor might have been the nuts.
It sure did, didn't it?
Yeah. All right. Well, this will be fun. We'll be live at 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, and we'll go through the final thoughts. Looking forward to it. It's it was an ugly slate, but I feel better after talking to you about it. Now I've got sort of more of an idea.
One thing we're not going to be covering is the Giants Carolina showdown slate from Germany.
Yeah.
I don't believe I'm going to be. I don't believe that at 8:30 a.m. Sunday you'll be seeing me live stream the lineup build for that. No, I am playing it, but that's. I don't want to say bad. Listen, it's football and it's 100,000 for first, whatever. But and I'm sure you can play Malik Neighbors at 97% ownership. I mean, I'm sure. but now wait, did the Panthers get rid of Chuba Hubbard or they signed Chuba Hubbard?
Yeah,
they got rid of. Who picked up Mingo? Somebody weird.
This is also another proof that Dallas is the dumbest team in football. So basically, DeAndre Hopkins went for a 5th rounder, and Mingo went for a 4th rounder to the Cowboys. What kind of garbage is this? Like, the Cowboys are such a horribly run franchise, and it's nice to see them getting what they deserve. I hope it happens again on Sunday, because I have a sneaky suspicion that if you're right, I'm going to end up feeling like, God, why didn't I do this? So it's a little bit echoing in my head. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here, guys. Good luck to everyone this week. Sheets, anything else you want to add?